Saint Joseph of Cupertino. He is known for his ecstasies and levitations. He was born in the village of Cupertino in the province of Lecce, Italy in 1603. As a child, he was always absent-minded and had a short temper. He used to roam around with his mouth open. His ecstatic visions started in his childhood, which continued throughout his life. At 17 years old, he applied to conventual Franciscan friars, but was not accepted because of his lack of education. He then applied at the Capuchin friars and was accepted as a lay brother, where he lived a religious life while doing his tasks through his skills. He was then sent away because of his continued ecstasies, which prevented him from his duties. At the age of 18, he came back to the conventual friars and finally got accepted. He worked in their stable taking care of horses. This time, he began to change. He grew up in humility. He prayed more and do more penance. They have seen his hard work and determination. He was then accepted in the Franciscan order and studied to become a priest. Studying for him was not easy. As a Catholic priest, he used to levitate during Mass and prayers. He was seen and it was believed that he was talking to God during his ecstasies. A jealous church member reported that he was found imitating the Messiah. Saint Joseph was put under investigation. During the trial, he just levitated while the judges were amazed with what they were seeing. He was always under suspicion about different things, that it is a form of a witchcraft. He gained so much popularity that the people flocked to his place to ask for help and advice. To stop this popularity, he was put to a forced detention in a small cell. He was forbidden to talk to anyone, even his fellow friars. His later years were as sad as when he was still young. 6 years before his death, he was released and returned back to Franciscan order, where he lived his remaining years in calmness and peace. He had 70 levitations in his life. He also flew to the ceiling when he visited Pope Urban VIII. He died at the age of 60 in September 18, 1663. He is the patron saint of astronauts, air travelers, and weak students. His body is preserved in a glass coffin and lies at the Basilica of Saint Joseph of Cupertino in Osimo, Italy. In September 18 every year, his body is carried in procession in Osimo, Italy. Saint Joseph was beatified in 1753 and canonized in 1767. Saint Martin de Porres. He is known for his levitations, bilocations, or being present in two places at the same time, healing of the sick, and communication with animals. Saint Martin de Porres was born in Lima, Peru in December 9, 1579. He is the son of a Spanish nobleman and his mother is from African and native descent. After his mother gave birth to his sister, his father abandoned them. His mother worked in a laundry to support her children. He grew up in poverty. He was sent to study for 2 years in primary school as a barber surgeon, or the one who is responsible for taking care of the soldiers before and after the war. At the age of 15, he asked to join the Dominican convent of the Rosary in Lima. He was accepted as a servant boy and later promoted as a church officer in charge of giving money to the poor. During his time, coming from a mixed race is not well accepted. One of the priests insulted him as illegitimate and a descendant from slaves. An epidemic hit Lima. 60 friars were affected. He was able to come inside the locked doors without being open to take care of them. One of his works were, he begged and collected offerings to give to the poor every day. He founded a home for the orphans and neglected children in Lima. With all his duties, his ecstasies and levitations continue. While he prays, the room shines very bright. Saint Martin refused to eat meat. He loved animals and could communicate with them. One day, they found out that there were a lot of damages due to the rats inside the monastery. He started talking to them that if they stay outside, he will take care of them and bring them food. The rats obeyed his request. They stayed outside. There they wait for Saint Martin to feed them. Another story was, there were 2 cows brought to the monastery, and they were fighting. He talked to both of them to behave. He talked to the older one to let the younger cow have the food first before him. The older cow listened and kissed his habit. Saint Martin died on November 3, 1639. He was beatified by Pope Gregory XVI on October 29, 1837, and canonized by Pope John XXIII in Rome, Italy on May 6, 1962. He is the patron saint of mixed race, public health workers, animals, and more. His body was exhumed after 25 years and found intact and releases a very fine fragrance. His remains is displayed in the convent of Santo Domingo in Lima, Peru. Saint Mariam Bawardi. She is known as Little Arab. She is also known for her service to the poor. She was born on January 5, 1846 in northern part of Israel and later moved to El Bilin in Palestine during the Ottoman Empire. Her parents lost 12 sons who had not reached 3 years old. They made a pilgrimage on foot to Bethlehem, 70 miles away, to pray, and for this time a daughter, and promised that they would name her after Mother Mary, and when the child is 3 years of age, that they would return there to offer wax of candles with the same weight as the child. Their prayers were answered. They were blessed with a daughter. After 2 years, they were blessed again with a son named Bolus. 2 years after her birth, she lost her parents due to sickness. She was adopted by her uncle from her father's side, and her brother was adopted by her aunt from her mother's side. As a child, she was religious and fasted every Saturday in honor of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Few years later, her uncle transferred to Alexandria, Egypt. When she was 13, he arranged her marriage with his wife's brother. The night before her wedding, she experienced a calling from God. She completely disagreed with marrying. Out of anger, her uncle beat her severely. She found a young male servant to deliver her letter to her brother in Nazareth. The servant got close to her and convinced her to convert to Islam. She rejected his proposal. He was so angry, he cut her throat and threw her in a corner. It was a miracle that she still lived. A nun dressed in blue, which it was believed that she was Mother Mary, brought her to the grotto and took care of her for 1 month. She recovered, but her voice was affected long term due to the cut on her throat. There she found a place to work as a servant of an Arab Christian family. She decided to search for her brother after a year of working. While on travel, due to weather conditions, the boat stopped at Beirut. There she found again a place to work as a servant. There she lost her sight for 40 days. She regained her sight again. Another incident happened. She fell down and got sick. Her employer took care of her until she recovered. In 1863, an opportunity came to her to go to Marseille, France, as a cook in an Arab family. There she felt entering the congregation of Sister of Saint Joseph of the Apparition, but she was rejected. After 2 years, she was accepted as a candidate. This time, she received the stigmata of Christ. Mother of Veronica had an offer to go to India for the congregation. She brought Mariam with her. She was given the religious name of Mary of Jesus Crucified. She experienced numerous ecstasies during her life. One day, the sisters were searching where she is, and they found her levitating on top of the tree. They told her to come down, and she came down slowly. She died on August 26, 1878 in Bethlehem from cancer that developed into her bones. This is what she got from her fall in the monastery. She was buried in Carmel of the Holy Child Jesus, Bethlehem. She is the patron saint of peace. Saint Mariam Bawardi was beatified on November 13, 1983 by Pope John Paul II. She was canonized on May 17, 2015 by Pope Francis. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Thank you for watching. Until next time.